DJ Immortal, live in the mix.
All right, Outlaw Radio Live fans, we are live on the air with the legendary queen from the Hobo Junction. How you doing this evening?
I'm good. How are you, DJ Immortal?
I'm doing great. I've been looking forward to this interview for a long time. I grew up on the Hobo Junction, so this is actually a surreal moment for myself.
Well, I'm glad to be here. I'm glad for you to have me. I appreciate it.
You're most certainly welcome. I have to ask you, what made you decide to get into the music industry from the beginning?
Well, sometimes, if you watch children will gravitate to certain things at an early age. And for me, it has always been music. So I can remember being in, preschool, and there was a teacher who taught me how to do the fingering for the piano and things like that. And as the time grew, I also knew a woman that did performance, and I used to run up on stage with her, and that was before the age of 6. So I kind of always had this, this desire to be on stage and just to perform. I was never shy. So as far as what got me into the Hobo Junction, it was a whole other story. I had already been writing and doing my own raps, as a hobby, something that I did personally. And I just, the world just aligned to allow me to rap for somebody that could actually move me into the next level. So that's just kind of how it happened. But it has always been a part of me, just before just even rapping specifically, just music and performing.
And I have to ask you, speaking of the Hobo Junction, so how did you meet the rest of the members? How did it come to be for you?
Okay, so this is a story that I feel. Okay, so I live in Oakland. I live in Oakland, California, and we have an area in Berkeley where at that time, during the 90s, it was Telegraph Avenue, and there was, if you think about Bay Area Underground, a lot of artists kind of grew up there because it was a place for you to hang out as 12-year-old teenage, up there on up. It was just somewhere you would just go to just hang out on Telegraph. So, of course, that's where the Hobo Junction used to sell their albums. But I used to go to Telegraph, and when I got back home to Oakland from Berkeley, it was late, and I actually lived at the top of a hill. And because I used to ditch a cab from the bus stop going to the top of the hill, I would ditch a cab, and run down the path to get to my house. So this particular day, I was going to do the same thing, and the cab driver seemed shady. It was just like, I don't think I'm going to be able to pull this off. And I was about 14, 15 years old. I was like, no, he might take me, or he might whatever. So I saw Digno. I didn't know who he was. I saw a gentleman hanging out at the bus stop, getting off of the BART, what we call the BART, which is like the subway train. And I saw him holding a crate of records, and I was like, okay, I vibed with him. So I said, you want to share this cab with me? I couldn't ditch it. And, so she's like, yeah. So he got in the cab. Come to find out, it was Digno. I didn't know. At the time, not even at the moment of him getting out the cab. I saw him later again on Telegraph, and he saw me sitting down writing. He was like, what you doing? I said, writing rap. He was like, spit for me. So I did. Mind you, I would not have said any raps to him had I known who he was. Just because, when you meet people, you sometimes intimidated by their success. So that'll sometimes make you be more shy about your gifts. So luckily, I wasn't shy about my gifts because I didn't know who he was. From that point, he told me to come do a test, which was like a demo. I did the demo. He played it for Saphir, I guess, when I wasn't around. Played it for Saphir. He called me on the phone. He said he heard the test, and he thinks that I'm really dope. and that this is his quote: "If you want to be down, win or lose, we some motherfucking fools." Now that goes back into what Hobo Junction is really known for, which is the Hobo Junction severe battle against the hieroglyphics in Kashmir. So he was referring back to like whether you think whether we win or lose, you gotta know the fools we gonna still, be. So that's kinda how it started. Just ditching a cab and scared to ditch a cab. Just picked somebody that looked like they was on my level, happened to be big nose, met up with him maybe weeks later, happened to see him on Telegraph, and that opened the door, and everything just aligned. So this is just something to the listeners. You never know where your opportunities are going to come from. You just have to know what your goal is. I've always been a rapper. I've been writing rap since I was 9 years old. Did I know I was going to get put into it? No. But that energy and that focus in my mind just created opportunities. So I can definitely see the law of attraction. You know what I'm saying? How everybody says that. I saw that work for me in my career. And from that point, I became a part of them. And, yeah, here we are today.
And it sounds like that cab ride, most definitely, if you know what I mean, was most definitely meant to be.
It was. It just aligned. And me listening to the voices to say, pick him. Tell him to get in the cab with you. It just happens to just all work out. So you have to trust yourself, and the most odd things might turn out to be the most of the most genuine gift from the universe for you.
So I have to ask you this. As we all know, you are the only female member of the Hobo Junction. I have to ask you, what was that experience like being just the only female? Was it female member? Like, was it like hard? Like, did they kind of judge you sometimes, or were you all equal as a group?
Well, mind you, the DA, she was also in the Hobo Junction, so it was not just me as a female. However, I was more. So she actually, if we have, on the Cleaners album, she actually, she threw her on a few songs. We all had our own solo songs as well. I just was utilized more. But in that regard, I think I think the only, lyrically, it was not a problem for me. I didn't feel about it. I think on a social level, you just had to kind of get adjusted to the team that you were moving with, how socially people would react to you, interact with you, and things like that. I know that I did go through, because I was in high school. They're all like 7 to 5 to 10 years older than me. So I was still in high school when I got sick. So there was people in high school that would kind of just be like, I didn't deserve it. They didn't feel like I was talented enough, even though I was freestyling, beating their heads up at high school. But then to live them, the funny thing is, it never felt uncomfortable. They just always felt like big brothers. So, if you grew up in a family with brothers, you never really took it that kind of way. It was just like, I'm their sister. And literally, I'm their sister. So, I know that I learned a lot from them. I learned, with me looking back at my journey, by being in that boot camp, like being in that environment with MCs and the way that they ad-lib, the way that they write, the way that they do this, it helped to develop me into the lyricist that I am. So, but I always think I was just lyrical. I mean, I used to write like choruses. Night and Day is one of the choruses that I wrote for the Hobo Junction. But I wrote many choruses for us as the Hobo Junction. We used to write lines for each other just in case we get blocked, like writer's block. You would have, pass give each other something they can always look back to if they need a line. And they never gave it to me. But I gave it to a lot of people. So, and even them embracing my lyricism gave me confidence. So I don't know if I answered that right, but I've always felt like their sister. I've always felt that way.
And also in 1998, the Hobo Junction released my personal favorite album, The Black Label. I have to ask you, what was the inspiration behind that album? And what was it like actually creating that amazing record?
Well, I don't know what the background of it is. I think it was just just how that cover is, just showing their authenticity and how the music is made, where they have the turntable and the keyboards and the shot calling and Big Mama sticker. I think that it was just kind of just saying how authentic we were. And I have to think about it. We're from an era of hip-hop where when the Wu-Tang just came. So the idea of clicks, it was more of a thing than it is now to actually make click albums. We had Boot Camp Click, you had the Wu-Tang Clan, you had, just all these various artists. So us coming as West Coast Underground, it was more like us establishing the click as a sound, as this is our sound. So it's kind of solidifying the where we fit into the rest of the music world. So it was kind of staking our flag. You understand what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
I think that was the intention of staking our claim to say, oh, we're here and we can battle against whoever. So hip hop has changed in that way. It's not as many cliques. We have people that are affiliated with each other, but they don't really do the click album like how Wu-Tang could do a whole album together. We don't do that as much now. I think that that's something that's missing, but that's the era that it was really born into.
And I agree with that. When you said not a lot of individuals in hip hop really have groups anymore, and I do notice that as well. So it's always good listening to a solo artist, but sometimes it's also good to listen to a group. You know what I mean? It's
right.
All solo records are good. Don't get me wrong, I'm not hating on them, but we need some groups in hip hop. We really do.
Right, we do. We definitely do. And I think that, to be honest, that would actually help with now that everything is so digital. So you kind of have to share your comrades' information, like your comrades' information. So to come together as a unit and be doing music together, videos together, we're sharing each other's stuff, we're promoting each other as a unit and as individuals. I think that would become, it would be more lucrative for groups to do that, because then there will be an easier way to do podcasts. Because you have a podcast, I think, to talk about or show how we're selling our brand, instead of having all of the pressure of being a solo artist in front of the camera trying to express to everyone. You can play off of other people, and people actually get to know you better by seeing how you interact with others. So, just a side note. People should go back to that. Get back to click. So, yeah, but I was very blessed to be welcomed into. If you could really think about it, when it comes to hip hop, when women come out, women seem to always be co-signed. So Little Kim was co-signed by Biggie Smalls. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Was co-signed by Jermaine Dupri. So with me, as I come from that era, and me being co-signed by was such a verbal speech, you know what I'm saying? So for him to co-sign me opened up the doors to really make people listen. Even if they didn't want to, they had to, because they had to think about, why does he co-sign her? So it's interesting how female artists, we're kind of tied into that. Now that we're moving more into a different era, women can stand alone, but if you really look at it, that has been a history of female rappers. They have always been kind of co-signed. No, I can't say that about Latifah, Queen Latifah, but I know I'm going way now. But so I'm very appreciative of that. Even when I look back and see that how like the performances I'll see, and I'll be like, God damn, I really feel like a little Kim standing next to a Biggie Smalls, literally. When I think about myself, and this just happened to me recently with being prepared for and I listened to the music, and I went on YouTube, and I felt all it, and it kind of gave me a rush, like, oh my God, I forgot. Like, I still been rapping, of course I moved on to, a solo career as time has gone on, but I forgot the feeling that it was to stand next to such a vicious MC and for him to put me up in front, like, God, this is dope, to give me that validation and to really, really go and tear heads off, and even now it's like some people won't feature me because they don't want me to out-trap them. So that's the problem sometimes with women, because if you become too good, you become a threat, and so they don't want, people are afraid to mix you. That's the power of being good. The power of being good.
And speaking of the power of being good, you are also coined as the wife of hip-hop. I have to ask you, how does it feel to have that title on your belt?
I'm very honored because I think, when I took it as it being the lyricism, meaning I'm holding hip hop down. I'm keeping it. I'm keeping the essence of what should be there as it evolves. So I felt like I was very proud to take on that title because there is a dynamic where the female energy does help hip hop. Because the women dance to it, the women listen to it, the women, so there's a level to say that that I supported in the evolution and the movement of hip hop into its greatness, and I feel that way. Like there's still, even with me helping to mentor different artists and helping to work with different artists and producers, there's a level of the essence that still needs to remain even as it evolves. And me being the wife or coined as such, I feel like there's an obligation, whether underground, whether it's just me interacting with the artists that I meet and giving them that encouragement and the wisdom that they may need or that they may ask for, then, I'm there to offer it. So I do take that title, I do take it as an honor to be considered as such.
And also, jumping ahead a few years here, in 2016, you were featured on, I believe it's Velaloni's song, Understand the Buy. I have to ask you, what was it like working with that individual, and how did it come to be for you?
With one of the things you're talking about is, music is a relationship. And so, once you have planted yourself in a the musical culture, you meet people, you run into people. So that particular song came about because I have known the Mechanics, which are very popular in West Coast music in general. They've just recently done one for Davey. But having the relationship with those producers, I'll be in the studio, doing my hanging out, whether I'm doing my own music or just stopping by just to, vibe out. And that particular time there was a song being done, and it just happened to marinate very together, and I was able to offer my talents to that project. And there's actually been a lot of songs that just kind of come out of those relationships more than it is oh, let's just do this song, you know, and it's just more like we vibe with each other. We know some of the same people, we hang out in the same environment. I know, you know, so the relationships are very important. And with this again, I keep having to go from back then to now. The social distancing has been happening before what we're experiencing right now. People who are locking themselves in the house, recording their own music, not going to the studio, not hanging out with the musical community. So now there have been less networking personally. It's always just, oh, I'll send you this digital file, I'll send you this, but you still haven't really developed a relationship going forward. So because I come from an era where that was important, I have established and have built very strong relationships over the years because of just hanging out. You know, they'll be just bring me to their shows, have me perform on their shows, have me on their albums just from us hanging out, you know. So I think that that's important. But yes, Velwan, he's from doing that with being in the studio and having a relationship with the mechanic and being around him in those studio environments, which helped to welcome me into being a part of his project. I don't know if you know of the Hood Stars. They've actually released the album with DJ Drama a few years back, but I also did things with them. And again, it comes from those relationships. So I want people to understand how important it is to formulate those relationships, because you never know what their careers are going to turn into, how you'll need them, how they need you, and success in business is your resource. And sometimes people are your resources. They do digital, they do promotions, like you. You're a great friend, so a great person for me to know and connect with, because you have you doing so, and vice versa. There's things that I can offer you and you can offer me, and so we have to get back to that community aspect of hip hop instead of it being so competitive outside of bars. Like, yeah, it's competitive in bars, but don't be competitive when it comes to networking. You know, about the bar, do a song and say what's that. So, but if we have to go back to that community of hip hop, I would say it's very important. Just like you connected with me in Canada. You know, I've actually Jeff Kyle. I don't know what he calls himself. Yeah. But you know, I did he's from Canada, and the same thing. I did a song with him. So I think that us being able to cross boundaries and enlighten each other is a great thing. But as far as nowadays, it's funny how I have separated myself so much from that history, not in a negative way, but in a way of just evolving, doing music. So I never stopped. Like, I never stopped. I thought the last album song that I released was the end of last year. So as far as my other comrades from the Hobo Junction, of course I'm the youngest of all of them, so it only makes sense for me to still be as active as I am. But I know that, you know, IQ, which was, you know, he was part of the Hobo Junction, I know he still does do some rapping, but I've kind of just kept going. And a lot of people don't even know, like the more recent younger generation that I deal with and do music with, they don't even realize that I come from the Hobo Junction and Sophia and the Hula, you know, which, you know, we have a great history in music here in the Bay Area, Oakland, California, and the Bay Area, San Francisco Bay Area in general.
And also, August of last year, you dropped the song Ancestors Still Exist. I have to ask you, what's the inspiration behind that song, and where can our listeners buy or stream that single?
Oh, okay, great. Yes, the Ancestors Still Exist. It's kind of, you know, a lot of my raps are to my feature self, and sometimes my feature self encompasses the world. I realize that. So I think that song really applies applies to the fact that sometimes we feel alone. We feel like we don't have the support that we need, that we cannot overcome our problems. That me saying that they still exist is saying tap into your DNA. Because within your DNA, there's the struggles that your family had to overcome, and that wisdom is within you. So I feel like to sit and have a conversation in your mind, or even out loud, if you want to talk to people, friends, family, every time people say ancestors, they always want to go back to the 1800s and the 1700s. It's like, no, if they have time.
And that's most definitely true. I do have to say, though, that's actually one of my favorite newer songs by you.
What was that?
Sorry, I wanted to say Ancestors Still Exist is actually one of my favorite songs that you recently put out.
I so appreciate it. I do. Because I think some people don't understand that the message is really for you, for us to realize that we're not by yourself. You know what I mean? There's things, I don't know if people pay attention to their lives. There's been a lot of things that have been avoided, moved out of the way, turned into a good thing. And yes, of course, you can give it to the universe, you can give it to the higher power, but at the end of the day, it's in your DNA, and they're here to support us and assist us. So I think that, especially, like I say, in these times and what we're dealing with right now, I think that in this quiet space, we kind of need to just think and talk and go through our minds and like, oh, I wish I had the wisdom of my grandmother. I wish I had literally wished that my grandmother was physically here for the advice that I need. However, I know that I can ask those questions and have that passion in my heart, and somehow, some way, I get the resolution that I need. So the whole thing about that is just saying that not mobbing by yourself. You're never alone. You stand up strong for yourself. They gonna mob with you. They gonna move stuff out of your way. Let me tell you what happened. So I recorded that song on my grandmother's birthday. That kind of really. And so my grandmother's birthday, I recorded that song, and 4 days later, my daughters were just over one. They just turned one, and a man kicked my door. Sunday morning, kicked my door, and I had to protect my daughters and get him out of my house. And I was thinking to myself, I'm like, wow. And all of my neighbors, I was in the house, I have a nice space between me and my neighbors. But I was yelling and being so infuriated and throwing stuff to get this man out of my house, rushing him out of my house, and my neighbors came out. They called the police. They watched them. They took pictures. They did all of that. And so that goes into, again, I just did this song 4 days before. Angels and ancestors, mobbing, and that's on whatever the problem. And it made me cry because I felt like it had to be something else with me to have protected my daughters and get this man out of my house. You understand what I'm saying? So the essence of the song, mind you, I did this song before this happened, but this is only days later that I experienced that. So I want people to really understand that. Excuse my voice is anxiety. But I want people to really understand that you have a squad. The universe has assigned you a squad. You have a whole gang behind you. Even when you're walking alone, you are not alone. And as long as you know that and don't give into the anxiety of being alone, you will be triumphant. You will, if your intentions are, of course, in the right place. But that's the essence of the song, was because I felt like a lot of people feel lonely and don't realize that even when you're physically alone, spiritually, you're not alone. And that doesn't require you to be religious. You know, to say, oh, God. No, your ancestors is in your bloodline. It's in your veins. It's in your blood. You know what I'm saying? So you don't have to even be religious. You just have to know that your whole game is in your bloodline.
So I have to ask you, what is next for you? Is there anything else you want to promote? Any upcoming shows after this COVID-19 pandemic? Any other albums you're working on you want to promote? Will we still have you on the air?
Yes. So, of course, if you guys can go and find me on my Instagram, which is @Queen_Mahasen. Mahasen. Queen_Mahasen. Go to your Spotify, Queen Mahasen, YouTube, Queen Mahasen, and even in my IG, it'll send you to a link that'll give you the Google Play, Spotify, so that you can be get abreast of the music on your playlist. You can find out where you can buy me. Of course, I'm on all digital platforms in regards to buying the music, and I stream on all digital platforms. And again, you'll still find me under Queen Mahasen. I have a couple of more songs that I'm thinking of releasing as like a maxi single, which is an old school term, which will have about 3 songs on it before the end of the summer to prepare for when we are taking off punishment and be able to come out. So we'll have all of those songs ready so that we'll be ready for those shows. But as of now, we had to pause, the performances, of course, because, everything that's going on. But my brother, Solo Flex, we are working very closely on making sure that we can promote what's out there, videos, his shows that are coming. We are hoping to do the High Road Day. Hopefully, if this whole thing passes by, High Road Day is usually September 11th, Labor Day, the USA's Labor Day. So that would be the most tentative performance, perhaps. But as of now, just following me on all of those musical platforms and in the YouTube, of course. Queen Mahasen, you'll find me under everything.
I want to say, Queen, thank you so much for coming up on the show. It's an absolute honor and most definitely a privilege.
Most definitely. And I love what you are doing. And it is only going to get bigger and better. I think that you have a great platform and that you're doing a lot for hip-hop.
Hey, I look at it as a lot of individuals nowadays, they only care about likes and views. They don't do it for the love of the culture, and that's what I'm doing. I don't care about likes and views. I want individuals like yourself to be able to have their stories be told for many, many years to come.
Yes, and you will be greatly rewarded. Believe that, because people are motivated by money, and then they find that they fall short of their monetary goals. You want to be of service and want to do something from the heart. That just comes automatically. It just comes with it. It still takes time and effort because we have to all learn just to prepare us for those levels that we want to get to. But I greatly appreciate it, and you definitely have a follower in me, and I will promote what you're doing because I really do appreciate such a platform as yourself that you have, because the hip-hop community needs to know the origin and to learn about it, new and old, because you give that platform for legends and upcoming legends, future legends, So, I thank you again so much for this, for being able to be on your show right now.
You are most certainly welcome, and whenever your new project drops, be sure to send me a DM. We'll get you back on the show and help you promote that.
Okay, I appreciate it. I really appreciate it. Outlaw Radio is the best. Okay.
Thank you so much, Queen. You be safe out there as well with this COVID-19 stuff going on.
Likewise.
Have yourself a wonderful night.
You too.